Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going In Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going In Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. It's Wednesday, so it's Hot Takes Day. That's right, you submit your hot takes on our community tab thread thing that we post, and then we react in kind. Larson, you want to try to do this before your chair collapses?
Yeah, my tea's not terribly warm anymore either.
Boy, oh boy, aren't you having the worst day ever?
No, it's not the worst day ever. Far from it.
My tea's not terribly warm. How long has it been sitting there, man?
Well, it hasn't. I've been sipping on it for the last, 25 minutes or so.
Okay, well, yeah, that's generally what happens, especially in this atmosphere. It's so cold right now.
It is very cold. It's very chilly.
It's arthritis, you know. Anyways, Larson, let's go ahead and dive into it. What's our first hot take today?
This one is from... This says Cole L1605.
Yes.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Malachi and Miro have no solid place in current WWE beyond a few-month U.S. title push. If they were overprotective of their booking in AEW, they're in for a treat in WWE when Triple H gives them the Andrade treatment. I want to pose this to you.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe one of the reasons, spitballing here,
yeah, sure,
maybe Malachi and Miro were so protective, potentially, of their characters, is they're entering into an atmosphere where they don't know who's booking the show, experience level, and because they don't want to be left to the whims, like they were in the other place they were working, of somebody just changing their mind and being kind of fickle about the creative, they're very protective of it. So maybe in its essence, coming from WWE, while Vince was booking things, made them more protective of their character than maybe they would have been otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think that is out of pocket to suggest. Yeah, I think there's a distinct possibility that being jerked around for, in the case of Malachi, how long was he stuck in that room?
Like a year.
Right. Being jerked around, you're going to go. I think it's several factors, and I think that is a very likely one. I think also when you're going from being, kind of a non-entity in a big pond, when you're on the biggest stage, even if you're, being treated like a shit on the biggest stage, if you go and you have a solid fan base behind you and you're being brought in to be a big deal at a smaller company, you're probably going to be going into the mindset of, I need to be protected. There's no reason why I should be taking, losses to lower time. The case of Miro is hilarious because that dude won a lot.
He won a lot.
Malachi, Aleister Black always really surprised me that and I don't know how much of it was injuries, how much of it was, there was reports that there was no rapport between him and Tony, but Malachi was not, he was not featured in the way that he really should have been featured there.
The moment when I think we both knew that he was not going to be pushed as a serious main eventer in AEW?
The Arn Anderson bit?
Mm-hmm.
Man, back then it was difficult. If I remember correctly, he was still sort of on Cody Island.
Yes.
And I remember us clowning the shit out of that. And it was funny and silly. I don't know if I ever necessarily thought this is a burial. It's hard to say buried, but honestly, it was just weird. I remember it was like, a year before we all collectively realized this guy never had a singles pay-per-view match. What's going on here? Why not? I think it was sort of a gradual process of us just realizing, why is this happening right now?
Well, I think it's also a situation where you have someone that you brought in, immediately feuds with Cody, at first beats him in 30 seconds? Like, that first match was super quick. And then you have Cody's manager. I understand Arn is a legend in the wrestling business, but at that point he was well into his 60s, I would imagine. I'm guessing. I don't know how old he is
For the
exactly.
fourth decade in a row, he was in his mid-60s.
Yes, exactly. And with a mere forearm, it's not like Lex Luger with all that metal in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mere human forearm blocking a devastating finisher that fell Cody in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
It was an indication right there. All right, Malachi, we're not going to take you there terribly seriously.
Well, okay, and it's also a lot easier to say that in hindsight as well because of when it happened. Hey, at the time, AEW's on fire, right? And this was pre, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that pre? That was before Punk came in, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
I think it was wasn't it in 2020?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, because initially it was a 5-year deal with 2 option years for his contract. So, yeah, 2020.
I don't know what it was. In any event, looking back now, if we had seen that exact same situation play out today, you and I would both jump on that and say, they ain't taking this guy seriously. He's not going to be a main eventer. Back then, it was like, okay, that's weird. Like, this is going to be your main event guy.
Yeah.
And then we see how that plays out. Getting to WWE though, I saw a bunch of takes about this. Here's one thing that you can look at in support of this. Number one, as we talked about yesterday on our Raw review, WWE is loaded. It's
what else?
loaded.
What else is going on at WWE?
They're also on fire.
All right,
but it's loaded, and like Pentagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's still kind of on the high of Pentagon. He's in a thing with Ludwig Kaiser right now. Not exactly, and Pete Dunne. Not exactly vying for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, granted, it's only been like a month, but it goes to show that, and he's going to win all of that stuff. And I'm sure he eventually will get, to a spot where they're booking him a bit more, in a higher level spot. Again, it's only been a month, but I do think that it's not going to be like straight to, I'm not expecting Aleister Black to dethrone Cody. And he's going to be on SmackDown, so he ain't dethroning Cody. It's not like he has a chance to dethrone Gunther.
Well, but if you said that Aleister has a chance to dethrone Nakamura for the U.S. Championship, he's like, all right.
Yeah. That's a lot more realistic.
Yes.
Dude, I mean, it all depends. It all depends on what they have him do. I think with Aleister, there had been injury issues in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of it'll depend on that. He's not as athletic as he was before, but a lot of his shit is mystique anyways. If they have him do cool shit, people will be into him. Triple H always seemed to like the guy. I mean, he came up with his entire presentation in WWE anyways. I know he sort of brought a lot of that to the table already. Aleister did. Tom Budgeon. As far as Miro is concerned, again, I don't know. For some reason, I'm more optimistic about Malachi than Rusev.
Well, it's not like Miro didn't have bumps in the road when he was at WWE the first time,
Yeah, right, yeah.
He had some falling outs. There was that time when he and CJ Perry, Lana, were on screen at odds, and yet they announced their engagement. Apparently, that upset Vince. So the relationship between Miro and the company of WWE, I understand, Vince no longer in charge.
Yeah,
hasn't always been smooth sailing.
Yeah. So. And some of it is, what is the audience expecting? What is the broader audience? What do they expect? What's the reaction going to be? There's a lot of question marks. You can look at people, for example, look at Chad Gable, for example. He re-signed. He was in the Intercontinental Championship scene. Now he's kind of like, along with American Made, he's leading American Made, which is a good spot for him. He's on TV a lot. Good spot for him. He's the guy they have do the introductory matches. Because he's really good in the ring.
Yeah.
I think it's a good spot for him. I think it's a better spot for him than if he was in AEW. I can see the other flip side of that where people say, oh my God, this guy re-signed and now he's just the guy bringing in people, to job to bigger names coming in. I can see it from both sides. So, if you're on TV, if you're featured, I think Alistair's also the kind of guy. And by the way, I think Miro unexpectedly was with the Redeemer stuff, who, if you allow the collaborative process to take over, I think he can do some cool shit.
Oh yeah.
You just got to give him some TV time, and help him craft, whatever lore he wants to craft. And I think you could have something very interesting there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The Redeemer character is fascinating. It's an interesting character. Let's move on to a hot take here from Dark Dank Lucha Law Dog.
Lucha Law Dog.
Here says, Tony Khan letting Miro, Malachi, and potentially Ricky leave, but not Phoenix, shows that he is the very same dude that he tries not to be, Vinnie Mac, just a petty piece of shit and a bitter businessman.
Ooh, bringing the heat today on poor Tony Khan. What did he... Oh, wait a second. Never mind. Tony Khan's a billionaire. F that guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's on site for all billionaires, Larson. So Tony Khan letting these guys go, but no Phoenix, shows that he's just as petty as Vince McMahon. So let's take, obviously, the non-wrestling, absolutely horrific, subhuman level that Vince McMahon allegedly reached via the lawsuit allegations. Let's take that off the table. Strictly within the world of professional wrestling, no, Tony Khan is not even close to being as petty as Vince McMahon. Look, this is kind of a shitty thing. It's not outside of contractually what he's allowed to do and what Phoenix agreed to. Taking the merch store down is shitty. It's all look, it's shitty.
Mm-hmm.
There is an element of we're not in the room, we're not there. Who knows what the other side of this was? Same goes for Ricky Starks, to be honest with you. Like, we're just not there, folks. Vince was a whole other level.
Yes.
A different stratosphere of petty and gross.
Vindictive. Yes.
Yeah. And on top of that, he would allow his pettiness, his vindictiveness to interfere with what we're seeing on television.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is, I don't know, whatever, any of the number of instances where something will happen on screen. And like, why did he do that? And then you find out that it's like punishment, or it's referencing something that's happened in real life that pissed off Vince. And so he's putting it on TV. And it's like, why did this take a left turn?
Yeah.
It just he made the product worse because he wanted to punish people because he was so petty.
Yep.
It's a different level to me.
It is. Yeah, it is. As shitty as the situation is with Phoenix, Vince on a whole different level.
Not saying it's not shitty. Probably is without knowing the full details. That being said, not even close.
Hot take here from Jericho the Splendid. Says, main eventing night one of WrestleMania is not the same as main eventing Mania. Only those who have been the final match of the show can truly say they've done so. Sorry, Sammy and Kevin Owens.
All right. What do you think about this one? Do you think night one is just as good as night two?
Depends how they define. Depends on how WrestleMania is defined. Is WrestleMania 2 shows? Is it 1 show over the course of 2 nights? If it's 2 shows, that means 2 main events. That means night 1 final match is main event. However, if it's WrestleMania's 1 show spread out over 2 nights, then final match night 2 is the main event.
To help you determine this, let me ask this question.
Sure.
Where did Cody Rhodes make his WWE return against Seth Rollins?
Is that WrestleMania?
Right.
It's night 2, wasn't it?
Okay, but notice when you say WrestleMania, you never specify WrestleMania. Let's say, oh, that was at WrestleMania. Was it 30? Was it 37? Was 37, 38?
It was 38.
Okay. Oh, that was at WrestleMania 38, night 2 or night 1. I don't know where it was. It was one of the two. I
believe it was night 2.
I think it was 2. You don't specify.
No,
Nobody
generally
specifies.
Not.
Where did Cody Rhodes finally beat Roman Reigns? At WrestleMania.
Main event of WrestleMania.
Main event. Yeah, main event of WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, man, and this is not sort of participate. I honestly do not feel this to be participation trophy level. Bianca Belair main event of WrestleMania.
Yep.
I love to say that. I think it's great.
I'm happy for Kevin Owens that you got a main event WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Is there some added prestige of getting night 2? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, obviously.
There
I think
is.
so. I
There
think
is.
so. I feel like WWE treats the weekend as two different shows.
Okay.
I feel like that's how they view it, and that's how they treat it. Since the 2-night WrestleMania has been a relatively recent occurrence, this be the 5th one, I think. Started at 36. I think for a lot of us who grew up watching wrestling, the event of WrestleMania is all-encompassing. There's one WrestleMania. Now, 10 years from now, we got, a lot of 2-day WrestleManias. Maybe that thinking will change. I don't know, people who just watch, this is a question for Chad. If you just started watching wrestling within the last 4 or 5 years, how do you view WrestleMania? Is it 2 shows, or is it one event over 2 days?
Yeah, but the thing is, dude, even if it's one event over 2 days, it's 2 days. Oh, what's main eventing night 1? When it's announced, when we find out what is going to main event, because we all know Cody's going to main 2.
Yeah.
When we find out what main event's night 1, we're interested. We want to know. It comes down. Triple H decided Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair is going to main event night 1. Really? Oh, shit. Wow, That's great. As opposed to if in your scenario, it was legitimately considered one show, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair is going to go on smack dab in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's main event night 1.
It's main event night 1. And I feel like another aspect of it, I would guess, is everybody wants to be in the main event.
Yeah.
And I assume talent would prefer to be the main event in night 2 because that's the last match. That's the defining final image of that year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Barring that, they want that night 1 main event because that's still the main event of that day's show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would think from the character perspective, but also from the performance perspective, that's important to them.
Yeah.
Like when Charlotte and Rhea a couple years back, that seemed like it was going to main event night 1. They didn't get it and didn't get the time they wanted. Charlotte says, doesn't work for me. And they went out and put on a match that was worthy of the main event of that show.
Yeah. 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 So, dude, I mean, look, I understand it's, whatever, subjective, eye of the beholder, whatever.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think that there is something very special about the night 1 main event. I think WWE has decided that you can call it the main event. I will say this. I know they have in the past attempted when it was a 1-day show to say there are co-main events. And that shit does not stick.
No.
Does not stick.
No. And I will say when you mentioned, say, Bianca versus Sasha. And I think generally speaking, that's one of those matches where, hey, when that happened, that was the night 1 main event of Mania 37. And that and here's the thing: I feel like that night 1 main event spot is important to how WWE orchestrates and books the show. I feel like it's important to the performers and the characters in that universe.
Yeah,
and therefore, I don't necessarily think it's not the final match of WrestleMania. Obviously, that's the main event of night 2, but still, it's the main event of that day of WrestleMania. And I don't think you need to slide it just because that's the case.
I would rather, let me put it this way. It is, in my opinion, and I'll say this without a doubt, the second most desirable spot of the entire year.
Yep.
Because if you don't get that night 2, then you'd rather have the main of night 1 over literally any main event in any pay-per-view for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So I think that occupies its own spot. as maybe not the night 2, but better than anything else.
Yep.
And, I do think, especially, let me ask you this also.
Sure.
If we haven't really encountered this yet necessarily, but if night 1 is a killer show and the night 1 main is a killer match, and that's one of those that the fans might be a bit more invested in than another Cody match.
Yeah.
Night 2 is a stinker, punctuated by a kind of a stinker night 2 main event. I feel like that also plays into perception of that WrestleMania, in which night 1 steals the show.
Yeah.
And if night 1 steals the show, then that's kind of the thing that matters. It's always, what fans sort of dictate what matters,
What they come away from the show remembering fondest or most.
Yeah.
I never really looked at the night 1 main event thing as, oh, no, it's not the real main event.
I've never felt that before.
I've never
I've
felt
been
that
like,
way.
oh man, they got 2 nights. Cool. One night can main event now, or you can have 2 main events now.
Exactly. It gives a potentially larger platform for more people to contend for that main event spot over the course of 2 nights, and I think that's great because so many years there have been so many matches. We're like, what's going to main event?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they'll book it as or promote it as there's 3 main events on this show. No.
Yeah.
Last match is the main event. Now we have 2 nights, 2 opportunities for matches to main event their respective nights, and I actually like that far more than them saying 3 or 4 matches are the co-main event.
I agree 1,000%. Before we continue on, though, let's go ahead and talk about the sponsors for today's episode, Larson.
Let's do it. Let's take a break here. Get a word from our sponsor, Hims. Guys, look, I know it can be tough to deal with hair loss. Look, it's getting pretty thin up here for me as well. But I'm here to tell you that just because you may have lost your hair, that doesn't mean you can't find it again. Hims makes treating hair loss simple, with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months.
That's correct, Larson. Everything's 100% online, too, so you can get access to a wide range of hair loss treatments, all from the comfort of your couch. All you got to do is answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door for free. On top of all that, no insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care.
So start your free online visit today at hims.com/goinginraw. That's HIMS.com/goinginraw for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/goinginraw.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Tempo, Steve. We know a thing or two about fast food, don't we? Yeah? Yeah, we do.
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, we do. And when you think of fast food, you likely think of unhealthy, thawed-out meat patties just covered in grease. Just so much grease. But sometimes fast food does seem like the only option for you when time is tight and you're in a hurry.
Yeah, man, that sounds familiar, which is why I checked out Tempo. Tempo offers protein-packed fuel that saves you time without compromising your health goals. Tempo is a weekly delivery service that provides you with chef-crafted, single-serving meals that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes, and they're delivered fresh right to your door.
Tempo's lunches and dinners take the guesswork out of eating well, and with new recipes each week that are made with real, nutrient-rich ingredients, they make it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle. And for a limited time, Tempo is offering Going in Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw.
That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply. Before we continue on with our next hot take, Larson, I wanted to bring this up really quick. We are coming up to the middle of February. Of course, this weekend, very important for anybody participating in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Make sure you're keeping an eye on the Patreon wall and on the community tabs here. If you're a channel member here at the YouTube channel, because the Big Blue Predictions Challenge that started at Royal Rumble will conclude this weekend with Vengeance Day and, of course, Grand Slam from AEW down there in Australia. And so make sure that you got your eye on that. And for anybody who isn't yet signed up for the Big Blue Predictions Challenge, who doesn't have the Friendo Club setup, by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson, clicking on the Friendo Club setup. Or the other way to get it, by clicking join right here, youtube.com/Steven Larson. If you didn't manage to get in before the Royal Rumble, you can still participate in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. What better way to A, get your practice in for the big WrestleMania Predictions Challenge? It's the biggest one yet. And put all of us on notice. That's right. What better way to say, hey, man, it's my my destiny to become Big Blue Predictions champion. Just like Larson with his big blue hat barely out of frame there. This is the huge thing, man. For WrestleMania.
Show it. Let's see it. Careful, though. Don't cut your hands.
It's the bootleg CM Punk title directly from my guy in Pakistan. And it's also kind of dangerous. It's very, sharp. This thing right here is on the line. It's actually a whole belt. It's got see. Mm-hmm. It's on the line for WrestleMania. So if you want to get your practice in, get some reps first, and you haven't done it yet, click join. YouTube.com/Steven Larson.
Uh-oh. Did you cut yourself?
Yeah, I poked myself.
Ouch.
Might have drawn color there, brother.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we got to sand those edges down. They're pretty sharp.
We'll do it.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Next, let's do this hot take, though. Let's talk about Parsath.
Parsath.
As a hot take,
from
CM
the
Punk.
Hill people.
CM Punk not main eventing WrestleMania this year would be more interesting from a storytelling and character development perspective.
Ooh,
I agree. That
brother.
should be his motivation. Drag that out as long as you can.
Man,
that being the motivator for his primary motivator for his character and the twists and turns that could give us. Yeah. 10 more years till the main event's WrestleMania, Steve.
10 more years? He'll be retired by 9. Listen, this guy is old. And when I say old, I mean he's my age. That's how old he is.
I don't think it's the age that's the problem. It's the amount of mileage that he put on, especially early on in his wrestling career. And now he's a bit injury prone, perhaps. So I think that's more of an issue than age, per se.
And look, I'm so glad that he's going into the chamber before WrestleMania. I hope he makes it to WrestleMania. I really do. I say that with all sincerity, but I get nervous because, the way his style of wrestling is very physical, and he loves making that shit look real. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I'd be playing with that kind of fire, man. I think that you got to have some cool twists and turns to get there this year, but you got to get there this year, man.
No, he ain't main eventing this year, man.
You don't think him, Seth, and Roman are going to main event night one?
No, I don't. I could be wrong.
I think they'll do a big thing. I think it's funny, man, because I think you and I look at it now and we're like, this triple threat bullshit. Have that be the night one opener. But I think that with Paul Heyman involved, they're going to do some cinematic stuff. Seth will bring his A game to whatever he's going to do with it. Eat the pin. And I think they're going to put on an absolute show stealer night one. Main event. I think that's going to happen.
No, I think Gunther and Jey will main event night one over that.
Because
they want that image of 70,000 people doing the close night one.
Yeah, okay. I mean, what, he's going to take on Cody next year then?
Oh, what's next year? Maybe 2028.
2028? He ain't going to be wrestling in 2028. I'll bet you a Del Taco California burrito on that one, man.
All right.
Take
your time with the story. Take your time.
Damn, you're right about the Gunther Jey Uso. I don't know. Boy, I don't know. They got it. You know what they got to do, man?
3-night WrestleMania.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Thursday, SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe WrestleMania SmackDown is kind of like low-key, actually, the third night of WrestleMania.
So they put Roman, Seth Punk in the main event of SmackDown before Mania.
Sure.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Main events.
Yeah.
Hot take here from Nate Fuentes.
And every time, listen, for like the rest of the year, CM Punk's like, he's like in the ring with Cody. And he's like, I finally finished my story of main eventing WrestleMania. And everybody's like.
And then Cody just goes, SmackDown. I finally main evented WrestleMania. SmackDown. Nate Fuentes here with the hot take says, as much as I love Jey Uso, that his title run is going to be really boring. He's never beat any of the top contenders, and it's not going to feel legit because it's the mid-card world title.
All right, so I will say this, dude. They need to show us why Jey Uso can now beat Gunther. Because he couldn't a million times before.
He almost did it Saturday night's main event. He came close.
He had a month-long Intercontinental Championship reign before he lost to Braun Breaker.
Well, that was because of the interference from Bad Bloodline. That's why he lost that.
Yeah, that's right. That is my one reservation I have here is like, I like when somebody's on the ascent and they get better and we kind of see why they get better. This dude's been doing this for 14 years.
Yeah.
Why is he going to find a different level now?
Happens sometimes.
Because he's main event J-Mania?
Yeah. Main event Jey Uso. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. How many times have we seen someone win the title, and especially their first title reign, and the subsequent feuds, let's call them uninspired?
Yeah, babyfaces are hard to book as champions.
Yeah. And then especially when you have the two titles and you have one that literally says undisputed on there, and you have Cody face all the top challengers, and then whoever has the secondary title, the consolation title, the World Heavyweight Championship, they face just typically not as strong as challengers, and it is an issue. And will they do a situation where Jey is taking on the likes of CM Punk and beating him, Seth Rollins and beating him?
Seth, sure. Punk.
Sorry, Seth. You're saying sorry, Seth.
Lo siento, Seth, senor.
All right.
Punk, I don't know, man. Boy,
but if you want to establish Jey as a strong World Heavyweight Champion and elevate the stock of that World Heavyweight Championship, those are the things that need to happen.
Yeah,
that's why Gunther should have beat Cody at Crown Jewel. You could have wonked that finish.
Honestly, that's what you got to do. He has to beat everybody, and then at Crown Jewel next year, late this year, he beats Cody.
Yeah.
Or you have him go, Roman's like, I want that title, Oos.
Imagine Jey versus Roman.
But I do kind of want to see him like, I don't know what he'd have to do. Like, just, I don't know. Show us that it's not just a booking decision, with your character somehow. I don't know. All
right. We got two, never mind. You took that out.
We only have one because you know what? This like straight up blanket hate for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, here's a little clue for you guys in terms of your hot takes. If you simply say, I don't get this person. Okay. Well, we do. There is a hot take on here for Charlotte that said, I don't know, her presentation. It's like, okay, well then you don't get it. We do. And I'm going to spend 3 minutes once again talking up Charlotte Flair because we both love Charlotte Flair. This is Flair territory. Charlotte Flair territory. Not Ric Flair territory.
No.
If this is any Ric Flair, it's fake Ric Flair from that fucking movie. Boy, that was such a bearing the lead thing because I think it had been a while since we talked about that movie. And so when you and I both dogged the Iron Claw, people in the comments were like, what'd they just say? They didn't like that movie? Because they said, whoa.
It was because I was going through the list of hot takes, and it was almost like bang bang, one right next to each other. It's like, there's a juxtaposition,
Yeah.
Because even last week there was a lot of this particular hot take, and then the other one. This. Ronan the Analyst here says Charlotte Flair is the best wrestler in WWE in the last 10 years. She is a Bryan Danielson level talent. If WWE hadn't pushed her like Cena, the fans would appreciate her talent a lot more. And as you referenced, the other one said, essentially, presentation's gotten stale, so on and so forth. So,
you know what they should do in terms of the presentation? They're almost there. They have her like on a yacht, like Jordan Belfort,
Yeah.
They need to lean more heavily into the excess of Wolf of Wall Street.
So you want her to start using Quaaludes on the show?
Like she comes crawling out on Quaaludes. She gets like a little like a chubby best friend like he had with Jonah Hill. She comes crawling, they're just blasting on Quaaludes. And it's all excess, like they come at her with like I don't know, like a in kayfabe wellness violation, and she just starts throwing fucking money at them. Get the fuck off my boat! Woo! That would be people would love that too much. That would be amazing. She is the story of the actual story of Charlotte Flair is absolutely interesting. She only got into it because she wanted to see through her brother's dream of becoming the next great Flair wrestler, Reed. And for somebody to get into it for that reason and completely and totally excel the way she has in the ring is insane. She is. Just watch that. I implore you people, watch the Charlotte Rhea match from 2 years ago. It's electric.
It's really good.
It really
really,
is.
really good.
Charlotte Flair is a phenomenal wrestler. And you do have to think there might be something about the fact that Vince McMahon always viewed her as, to a degree, his Brock Lesnar of the women's division in terms of, in case of emergency, if you get nervous at all, break that glass and bust out Charlotte, give her another title. That ain't on her. She ran with every opportunity that he gave her. But yeah, she is a next level in-ring wrestler. She really is.
Yeah, she is really, really good. She is. You mentioned the Rhea match. There's countless other matches she's had over the course of her career that are fantastic. And I'll always give her props for her and Rhea getting the short end of it at WrestleMania 37 and her saying, no, we're going to take our time and do the match that we want to do because our match is important and this story needs to be told and we want to do it the way we want to. And said, we're going to do it as long as we want to. And then went out and did it. And so hats off to her for that. Regarding the aspect of her, you're right. So much of Vince's creative as it related to her, seemingly in some parts of the audience, there's a measure of resentment. And it seems like rather than just kind of being, instead of resenting creative, it's like they take it out on her. And that's not her fault.
I mean, that's something that you can't necessarily blame the fans for that because they are the representative, the creative, or the superstars, the representation of the creative.
But anyways, but yeah, maybe, if Triple H can take the aspects that have worked with Charlotte's presentation through her tenure with the company and in some instances kind of subvert her expectations. So you don't need like a wholesale changing of her presentation. I think you just need complexity, so some extra dimension in terms of how her stories with her are told.
Well, you gotta, in a very simple way, because that's true, but in a very simple way, people want to see their babyface do two things. Number one, don't be a pushover.
Yeah.
Which, no problem with Charlotte. And when I say baby, I don't even know if they want, I don't even know if they want her to be a good guy, bad guy, whatever. I think they just want her to be Charlotte, and people are going to react the way they're going to react. Depending on what they want from her, though, it's cooler when somebody who is so superpowered, like, Superman, how do you find odds to be stacked against him? And that's the same thing with Charlotte. People are interesting when they have challenges in front of them. Mm-hmm. And she needs some odds stacked against her. And it's going to be interesting how is she going to be the odds stacked against Tiffany Stratton? Is that the story they're going to tell at WrestleMania? With Rhea, it's a little bit different because Rhea is also super powered. So how are they going to tell that story?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully they come up with something cool that's sort of outside of the box. I don't know.
Yeah. And so often with Charlotte, again, going back to Vince's booking, it's even when you have someone that's final boss level, super powered, they got to have some vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. You got to have a kryptonite.
And there were so many times with how Vince was booking Charlotte that it didn't feel like there was vulnerability there,
Yeah.
And I think that's really necessary for just effective storytelling.
Yeah. How about this?
Mm.
Have an upper limit on the number of titles you can win.
All right.
Is she on the verge? What is she on the verge of right
I think
now?
it depends if they count like both her NXT titles or not, because I think it's somewhere between 15 and 13.
All right. What do they say? 17 isn't? Yeah, 17 is the thing.
17 would be breaking the record.
17, and you can't challenge for titles anymore. Then if her whole character is I need a title, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hot take here from Joker. Says Montez Ford should look to move into another promotion by himself like New Japan when his contract is up, so Triple H doesn't seem to want to give him a singles push. If Montez wants to pursue singles success, Triple H is not interested in breaking up Street Profits. Yeah. Follow, do what Drew McIntyre's done, what Cody Rhodes has done. Go out. Develop your brand. And WWE will call, and then they'll give you what you should have gotten to begin with.
Man, he can do all that with number one. If you look at that promo with him and Dawkins on Friday, it's all Street Profits need is
to break up. Yes.
What's that?
I said to break up. Yes.
No, man. You know what? They just need like a nice fresh coat of paint and a new attitude.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Change an attitude. That's what you mean to say.
Have them do cool shit. Here's the thing. WWE is loaded and it's on fire. You don't want to go anywhere else. You don't want to go anywhere else. Come on. How do you even know? How does anybody even know Montez wants a singles push?
That's why I prefaced by saying if he wants to pursue singles success, and that seems to be an avenue not available to him in the near future, and he wants to move on from tag team stuff.
This is what you do.
There's a lot of caveats attached to my statement, Steve.
You go to Triple H, you say, game. I know that right now Triple H is on fire. I mean, WWE is on fire. But I want some of that solo love. And he says, all right, yeah, not going to happen. We're working on the tag division right now. Street Profits, big brand name. Everybody loves it. It's great. We tried it with you at Elimination Chamber. I didn't see it. And so he's like, all right, cool. Then he pulls Dawkins aside. He's like, hey, Triple H said we can do this. I'm going to give you a low blow, and that's going to start our thing.
Oh, he's going to go into business for himself, huh?
Yeah. He does that, and then Triple H will have no other option. Book him as a singles guy. No, he'd be like, no, we're going to everything on course. You just got to act like it didn't happen next week.
Next week, Dawkins give you a low blow back, and then you guys are just going to laugh about it.
And then you guys, your new gimmick will be like,
you just play pranks on each other.
you guys will be like frat boys. Yeah. Or basically just like going around hitting each other in the nuts.
Give each other wedgies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'd watch that shit.
All right.
No, you don't want to go. You don't want to go anywhere else. Go to New Japan, you get lost in the shuffle. Go to AEW, get lost in the shuffle. WWE's on fire right now. You eat that paycheck. Your wife is there. Everything's going good.
I don't know.
Don't rock a boat, man. Don't rock that boat.
I don't know, man. We don't know what's going to satisfy people's ambitions. So.
Oh, man. His ambition to be the greatest tag team wrestler of all time. Man, it was so cool when he was at the Elimination Chamber 3 years ago.
It was awesome. His gear was great. Presentation great.
Great.
He did a fantastic job during the match, and that was the last time we saw him in any sort of singles capacity. And it's a bummer. He checks all the boxes.
Checks a lot of boxes.
He could be a massive single star. What are they waiting for?
He's a massive tag star. What's wrong with that? What do you guys have against tag team wrestling?
Steve, you don't even like tag team wrestling. Get out of here with that.
Oh, really?
No.
Really? Oh, I forgot about that. All right. Next hot take.
Corey the Story says if the rumor is true that is Rhea versus Bianca at Mania, they should add Io and make it a triple threat.
I agree with that. Yeah, sure.
Why?
Do that shit. They did it for Cena and Triple H and Randy Orton. They could do it here.
But why should they do it here?
You just write it to happen. Rhea versus
Give me
Liv.
a scenario.
Io gets in. Okay, all right. No, easy enough. So, who's gonna win? Rhea versus Liv at Mania. What? Why would it be Rhea versus Liv at Mania?
No, you're looking at the one below it. The one above it is the one we're talking about.
Oh, here we go. Bianca. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right.
So Bianca wins Chamber. She gets her match against Rhea.
Right. And then on the Raw after Elimination Chamber, main event, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Liv Morgan gets involved in that somehow. She's upset that Io beat her. How about Io screws over Raquel Rodriguez in that match against Roxanne? Because, like, they're still beefing. And, like, Liv attacks Io because Liv and Raquel lost this week. So they interfere in that match. Wonk finish. That's why they're doing it on the Raw, not at the pay-per-view. Wonk finish there at Raw. And then, Pierce
I would just
like,
seem to make it more to motivate like a 4-way match as opposed to a triple threat.
Yeah, that's what it ended up being. Yeah, that's what it ended up being.
Rhea versus Bianca can main event a night of WrestleMania.
Well, you just no. Hold on a second. You just said Jey versus Gunther is going to.
I said Rhea versus Bianca can, and it should whenever it happens. That's why I'm pessimistic it's going to happen this year, because they should take their time and build up to it and have it main event next year.
Who's going to be Rhea? Oh, it's going to be Rhea versus Charlotte, isn't it?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Add Io to it. Io makes everything better.
No, Io's great.
Why are you advocating against Io Sky being
I'm
a WrestleMania
not advocating
match?
against Io. I thought Io should have been the chamber match, won it, and then she would face Rhea one-on-one at WrestleMania.
You know my favorite thing that Io does when she does the kip up and she does this?
It's the double. It's the double kip up.
It's a double. And she goes, ah.
Io's
points
great.
at herself. Oh, she's
Io was
fantastic.
great. That's why it should have been Io Rhea this year.
Yeah, why are they saying Rhea versus... Oh, that's the next one.
Yeah, let's get to the next one.
Yeah, Rhea Bianca's like... I mean, dude, come on. That's like Roman Brock. You know what I mean? Like, that's only good. That's like big money right there.
Yeah.
Add Io, more money. So I say yes. Do it.
Gorov
of the Hill people.
with a hot take says, I don't know if this counts as a hot take, but it is going to be... Is it going to be Rhea versus Liv at Mania? Maybe Io gets added to it in a triple threat. It seems like almost all the other women already have their Mania plans, with Bayley and Roxanne set for Mania or Stand and Deliver. Naomi and Bianca are busy with the Jade stuff, unless they're planning Naomi versus Jade and Bianca versus Rhea. I also don't think Alexa will be in the title picture right away. Now, if you said it's Rhea, Liv, Io at Mania this year, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they've all kind of crossed paths going back for months. That makes sense.
All right. Yeah, I just can kind of see Bianca coming out of Elimination Chamber, I think. But then she's got Naomi in there. Man, I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know either.
Where's my notebook? Who's in the chamber right now? We
Liv.
got Bianca, Bayley, Liv. Here
Bliss.
it is. Bayley, Liv, Bianca, Alexa. Probably
And then
Roxanne Perez, Naomi.
And then Naomi probably.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Could be
Liv's
Liv.
kind of-
Liv
could
might
be-
win that
could
chamber
be Liv.
match. They could do Io, Liv, Rhea. They could do that. They could.
Yeah, they could do that. That'd be good.
Gabriel Ribeiro with a hot take says, while the 2020 return at the Rumble was amazingly special, with the exception of a handful of matches, the last 5 years of Adam Copeland's
Cope.
career has been mediocre at best and forgettable at worst. I think apart from his feud with Seth Rollins,
Yeah.
they had a really good series of matches.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of a whole lot of other highlights apart from that. As far as him
The
coming back.
concerto to his wife in the I Quit match was awesome.
Well, that was Judgment Day doing that. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that
I
was
know.
great.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was
just
great.
saying, like, he was involved in it.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of it.
He did have that really good greatest match ever against Randy Orton.
It was good. It was really good.
It was really
Wasn't
good.
greatest match ever, though.
No, that was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroki Goto. How do I put this being diplomatic here? A good 60% of Adam Copeland's entire career has been underwhelming.
You know what a perfect encapsulation, at least of his return, has been? Was that Hell in a Cell match against Finn Balor.
Oh, wow. That's sad. Oof,
The promise of something good and interesting, and then it fell short of expectations, And in the end, even though when he probably shouldn't have, Cope won.
Yeah, the same thing can be said about his leap from the cage.
Yeah.
That he broke his legs on.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, look, he seems like a lovely guy.
Yeah.
We've said that over and over again. He's hilarious when he's being funny on like the Edge and Christian show back in the WWE. I think there's always been potential for him. When he's been good, he's been really good. But too much of his return run has been focused on his return run. And how many more matches do I have? Well, geez, bro. A lot, apparently. Because you just keep on wrestling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Not the most compelling pro wrestling character in the world.
No.
So, yeah.
Hot take here from AJ Otani says already feels like WWE doesn't have many ideas for the women's mid-card titles.
Oh,
Has Liger defended the Intercontinental title since she won it?
Nope. I don't believe so. Well, look, they have been building this thing with her and Ivy Nile.
That's true, but then
And
she
I
lost to
assume they're
Bailey,
gonna
and
give
she
that.
should not have lost to Bailey.
No, I agree with that totally. They're going to give her and Ivy Nile a lot of time. I mean, the flip side of the Bailey thing is Bailey's a former women's champion many times over, longest reign on SmackDown or something. I forget what it is. And so, like, it's not a big deal to lose to Bailey in a qualifier if you're the mid-card champion. Because then she's going to wipe the floor with Ivy Nile. She'll, take on the people sort of at that level, and she'll work her way back up to the Bailey spot. So, yeah, I don't know. Chelsea Green is featured on a regular basis. She's actually doing really good work with the U.S. title because she kind of just does that stuff, whether it's the Wonder Woman outfit, her comedic stuff with Piper, whatever. Like Chelsea is making something out of the U.S. title. Lyra they need to have her defend that shit.
Yes.
On a regular basis, though.
Yes. Last hot take here from our Google Forms wizard, Cody Miles.
Cody Miles
says, hot take, the best name Trons of today, like Gunther, Dom, Roman, LA Knight, are all better than the best movie Trons of yesteryear. If WWE made them a little better, it wouldn't be an issue. Today's music is still mostly mid, though.
Yeah, there are some decent name Trons that I guess don't. Nah, man, a highlight. I don't care. The worst highlight reel is better than the best name Tron. I think.
Here's the thing, though. You could have your cake and eat it, too. You could have the name graphic with the highlight reel stuff edited in. It's not mutually exclusive thing. You could have the best of both worlds.
Look, I'll even demonstrate for the YouTube crowd. Look, I'm literally on the spot doing this. Now, Larson, just give me some highlights, please, because I have your name over you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, just give me some highlights. It's your Tron. I'm doing a Benny Hill. Yakety sax. Yeah, see, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
we just
totally
proved
can.
it.
Totally can.
Yeah, so there you go. Anyways, we
do
solved
need better
all
themes, though.
Oh my god,
Please,
dude, they're
much
even
better
dogging
themes.
them on the broadcast.
I know. It's like everybody's just waiting until the Def Rebel contract expires.
Are they waiting? Do they just want them to quit? Are they trying to shame them off the air? Like, hey, Triple H, we get the hint. Okay, so this is our notice. You can find somebody else to do 500 theme songs a year. Okay. And expect gold every single one of them. I'm out of here.
You know who WWE should call?
CFO $/Jim Johnson.
Rob Zerver.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Have Rob Zerver do the WWE themes.
Could you imagine his soaring vocals on every theme song?
Amazing.
That'd be great. That'd be
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.